super full moon, a night that every Reaper can get work if he wants it. Many other Reapers were stationed in parks and around known werewolf locations in the country and the world. I'm a Cavalier Reaper, and even I was working the night of the super full moon. I wasn't with a team like many of the other Reapers out there. I was stationed on my own in a town near the border of Nevada and California. There was a known pack of werewolves in the closest city, but the town I was in had a population of just under 1,000 people, and according to the briefing, none of them were known werewolves. How the machinists were able to keep track of them and keep their movements, I don't know. I asked a machinist once how they do it, and he just told me trackers. I figured by his vague response he wasn't going to tell me and just dropped it. Like I anticipated that night, everything had been incredibly slow. Nothing was happening, making me feel more and more tired. I tried my best to keep myself occupied. The room I was staying in had a very limited cable selection, but the front desk had a small library of DVDs you could borrow one by one and watch. I made my way through 4 movies without a call that night. I think I was annoying the front desk clerk by the 3rd DVD. It was about 4 a.m. and not wanting to piss off the front desk clerk anymore, I just decided to watch whatever was on TV. At 4 in the morning, it's nothing but infomercials, and after a night of no sleep coupled with intense boredom, some of those products started to look pretty good. If it wasn't for my phone ringing, I might have ended up with some ridiculous piece of workout equipment. The local cops got a call about a prowler that sounded a bit weirder than usual and wanted to see if I could go check it out. I jumped up, felt the adrenaline surge through my legs. It was only a minute drive down the road, and I got there in a blink and got out to see what was going on. I couldn't see anything out of the ordinary and double-checked with the dispatch that I was at the right address. All the lights were off and there weren't any noises. I was in the right place and started walking around the premises to see if I could see anything or anyone that was hiding from me. Maybe they had spotted the car as I pulled up. There weren't any cars on the property, and I figured the owners might have been out of town. I was near the back of the property when I saw a man standing completely still, his arms limp at his sides and a slight hunch in his back. His eyes and mouth were open as he swayed ever so slightly back and forth in front of what looked to be a chicken coop. But there weren't any sounds coming from it or the man. I shined my light on him and could see he was completely covered in blood. Turning my light to the coop, it was nothing but feathers and pieces of chicken torn to shreds, just demolished until all the remains were barely recognizable. I put the light back on the man. He was still in a trance, not reacting to the light or to my obvious presence. "What are you doing?" I yelled out at him, and again, nothing. I was hesitant to close the space. He didn't seem to be armed, but was obviously disturbed and violent. I didn't know what he was going to do next. "I'm talking to you," I said as I took a few steps closer. It was then that I could see he was wearing a Reaper's patch on his jacket. "Whoa, hey, you're a Reaper?" I said, confused. His head immediately turned to look at me in a flash. It startled me, and I grabbed my shotgun tighter at his sudden shift. "What are you doing out here? I was told I was the only one posted out here." He just stared at me for a second, not breaking eye contact with me despite the flashlight shining right into his face. He wasn't blinking, and it caused the tension of the moment to ramp up. I could feel the moment tightening to its breaking point, my finger ready on the trigger. He took off, quick as a jackrabbit, out of the light and off past the coop towards the open fields behind the house. It happened so suddenly it took me a second to grasp what was going on. I had anticipated an attack, not him fleeing. Chasing after him, I couldn't keep the light still, but it didn't matter. By the time I got the light on him, he was 20 yards in front of me and pulling away. I was running my heart out, trying just to keep up with him, keep him in sight, and he managed to leave me in the dust. I gave up pretty quickly. The more I chased him, the farther away he seemed to get, and the sun was going to be up in a couple of hours anyway. I didn't think he was a werewolf. I honestly didn't know what was going on, which added to my decision not to chase him any longer. I went back to the chicken coop to investigate a little and see if it had left any clues on what happened besides the destruction of a bunch of innocent fowl. There was nothing left behind at the house, just a bunch of blood and feathers. I wasn't sure how to report it. I told the local authorities it was a coyote, but I told the Reaper coordinator about who I had come upon out there and the possibility of a rogue or infected Reaper out running around. They didn't seem bothered by it, almost like it happened all the time. I realized that the world of Reapers and monsters I was trying to be a part of must go so much deeper than I had ever imagined. I still had so much to learn. I realized I was still sitting at the kiddie table.